message is going to be for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, cross watchers, anybody that was drawn to this message. So happy to see ya. The extended for this is on the membership side of this. Links for reading gather over there live, so please do join in for that, where you can just go over there and watch the extended part. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, cross watchers. Tell us something good. What do we have? All of a sudden, everything feels really quiet. Ace of Cups and Two of Pentacles. They came out like this. I don't know if you saw that. But it feels like this Ace of Cups is standing on a choice. Willow. Oh. Four of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, on a choice that nobody knows about. It feels like holding on to a secret. It feels like my dog's in there getting into something they shouldn't be getting into, and that's probably relevant. Pause for a second. Get out of there. Of course, they were getting into that. Somebody's out getting into something that they shouldn't be getting into, but why shouldn't they be getting into it? Well, good question. Four of Pentacles talks about holding on to something. But if you look at this right here, the way this image is, it's like they're holding on to these, but this is the big one. And they're not like holding on to that. It's like you can't even touch it because it's so hot. It's the Sun. Two of Cups. Three of Wands. It's like I can see in the future, I can see what it could be. See how they're like looking with foresight? Four of Wands. Oh. I can see a future with you. But it's dependent on a choice. And I feel like that choice makes them sad or uneasy or... And then I just cut the deck to Ace of Wands and the Chariot. Maybe somebody makes your choice easy for you. Or whoever this is involving. Basically what I'm looking at is big love. All of the good cards, as far as like the love stuff, Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, Four of Wands, Four of Pentacles is holding on to that. Ace of Wands is a good card. Chariot is forward movement. That's all of the yay. That's every bit of everything that you would want as far as a relationship goes, but it all depends on a choice. It's so crazy because everything was totally calm. Like I was ready to come and sit down for this reading, and that stuff has been there for a while. And the fact that right when I start going live talking about being distracted at something that's rustling to the side, let's talk about what the choice is. Because when you start channeling, everything is relevant in a way. What's the choice? Oh my God. Look at how many cards there are. It's a third person. Well, that, you know, what does that mean? It could be adding a third person. It could be a job with 3 options. It could be the other thing. Why is it Seven of Swords? Oh my God, secret. Okay, so that's very clear. There's distraction, there's Ace of Wands, this is a setup for, well, I was going to say a setup for disaster, but that's not what I meant. There is a setup here for something very special because someone can see, both people can see what it could be or could see what it is or should be or something like that. But I don't understand why there's a choice because this looks gorgeous. And it could be very well that, see how I laid 2 cards on each? Both situations could be bright and shiny. The grass is greener on both sides. The grass is equally green. And this is all happening now. So this will probably be one of those things that happen like right away as soon as this gets published. It'd be like 5 o'clock. This man. To endure. So it feels like almost like a cliffhanger, but not, because nobody's hanging off a cliff here. Everything is like peaches and cream on both sides. This could be somebody who wants their cake and eats it too, but it doesn't have to be like that. Especially because if the first card that came out was a choice, that doesn't seem like somebody who wants both. It seems like they want to make a choice or have made a choice or will make a choice. Why is the third party significant here? The Devil. Queen of Swords. Because you have a Queen of Wands and a King and Queen of Swords. And it feels like the one that's the match, the Queen of Swords to the King of Swords, there could be some kind of like Viking old thing, but there's an obsession there. It feels like they don't want to let it, they do not want to let it go. They don't want to let go either of them. So scratch everything I just said about them trying to make a choice. It could be trying to make a choice about how to make it work for everyone involved, but I'm not sure that anybody wants that. See, because they also come out with the sword and the scales. That is some kind of conviction. That is some kind of like deep gnosis. And I saw this thing, I'm just being reminded of it. I guess it was a meme or a quote or what have you. And it said, if you're curious about where your heart lies, like where your heart actually is, pay attention to where your mind goes when it wanders. So if you are a person who does the daydreaming, or you find yourself deep in thought, Aquarians are oftentimes known because maybe it's overthought for everybody else, for not for Aqua, they can hold all that stuff. They're the, but it would seem that if they were to take that advice, when they go to the wandering thought place, that's where they go. To the one that they have this like ancient soul tie with. They're just alike. You guys could look alike, have like the same color hair, be right about the same height. It's very quiet. It's very, very, very quiet. It's almost like this relationship between these two is more telepathic than it is verbal. It's very, very, very swords type energy. It could be like you could be hanging out with this person and sit in a room with them for hours and not say a word. Except you've been communicating the entire time. Like every now and again with your eyes, or like there's a wink, or there's a there's just, it's quiet, it's very fucking peaceful. And that's the thing about coming out of for people who have been in like a toxic situation and then going into a healthy situation. Healthy situations are kind of boring. We talked about this. It's the vanilla. Okay? It really is fireplaces and crocheting and tinkering around the house on a Sunday, right? It is that. It's very quiet. It's very peaceful, and there's just no drama. It's just you just live your life and but together. But it feels like there's not a lot of like locking heads and having to deal with things and answering to people and doing this and that, because these two don't do that. They have an understanding. There's a telepathic, like if, let's say that when these two are hanging out together and the Queen of Swords is like, do you want to go and do this thing? And the first response from the King of Swords is not words, but a mental, not really. And she goes, you don't have to come. I'm not going to die if you don't come along. It'll be fine. And they're like, oh. And it feels like a breath of fresh air because they didn't have to explain themselves. She read their vibe. She understands them. She gets it. And it's a relief. And I feel like that's why it's a choice. That's why it's on the table, because she's not doing anything. Her back is turned and she's hanging out, right? It feels like when they are near this person or in their energy, there is relief. But then there's this other, there was the devil part of it too. There's an attraction there. Was I just talking about that on the aqua moons? That's why I did this today, because I just did the aqua moons. We were talking about the Uranus vibe and the fact that most Aquarians that I know think that energy work is cool because it's quantifiable and you can see it and it's out there and it's like a different kind of like left-winged, not even left, an oblique point of view, right? And it's off center, and that's really cool because it makes sense. It's another way to understand things. But it almost feels like the and I'm just saying the word obsessed because the devil card is here. But it feels more like an attachment. That's my telepathic buddy. It doesn't have to be jealous and petty and awful like that. It can be something along the lines of, I see you, you see me, I care about you, period. Except they have involved another person, a Queen of Wands, that there is money issues with. Five of Wands is competition and fuss. There might be like 5 people around all the time, and I think it is a lot. 6 of Wands, Queen of Wands. And so here they are. Stuck in the middle with you. What do we do now? Because they do not 1, 2. That is so crazy. I got the Ace of Wands and Chariot in both decks. Those cards don't go next to each other when you first get a deck. So that's significant that the Ace of Wands and the Chariot go together in both decks. And so are they stuck? Because if we're talking about not all, your heart is where your mind goes when it wanders, followed by not all who wander are lost. Meaning they know exactly what they're doing, and it feels like they make a move. The Chariot and the Ace of Wands together is absolutely making a move. So let's see what they do, all right? The link for the extended is in the box below. You can get that on the extended membership side of this channel, or you can just join us and watch it live if you are already a member. And let's see what they do, because this is, it's getting juicy now. All right, let's see what this is about.
Bring it back.